Okay, welcome back to the Hotshot build. We are up to step 16, where we can put our cockpit pieces together. We've obviously already put his little head on, or a little, no neck. Call him glass and small. Alright, so these little parts here are where your battery gets kind of held in. So we've got a couple of 3x8 screws and a couple of these big plastic washers. I'm just going to grease up these holes. Make it easier for the screws to go in. I don't think there's anything real special about this step. Okay, so that was way more difficult than it should have been. I really struggled with that one. So this inspection plate kind of goes on that way. You have to mount your body post onto there. It doesn't tell you to do this. Right, I am going to put just the tiniest little bit of thread lock. Now, which way does this go? Right, so read the plan. So it goes this way. This has to go a specific way. And you do need to note direction of the hole in that body post. It needs to go perpendicular to the axis of the car. Here we go. And yeah, that's close enough. I might give it a bit of a... Yep, that'll do. So that inspection cover just sits in there. It's really useless because all your electrics are going to be in there eventually. But even with the cover off, you can't really get in there to do anything with them. I'm thinking it was for back in the AM radio days, where you used to have to change your crystals in your receiver and your transmitter. So you could position your receiver under there, and you can just take that panel off, and you can get to your you can just unplug your crystals and change them over. If you're if the young ones among you, if there are any of you young ones, you're sitting there thinking, what the hell is he talking about crystals? Okay, so I actually have some left over here from back in the day. Right, AMRX. Okay, so this one particular one is 29.785. That is your frequency. What is this one? This is a... Okay, so this is a transmitting crystal. It's a TX. This is an RX. That's a receiving crystal. But this, there you go. This frequency is 29.825. So those two crystals will not talk to each other. So you have one of these in your transmitter and one in your receiver, and this is what actually links them together via radio, via AM radio. However, the 2.4 gig systems we use nowadays, you don't have that. So that's why I'm thinking that that plate is there. It was a long-winded way around that explanation, but anyway. Step 17. This is where we start getting into this interesting suspension setup. So I'll take my time through this for you guys, in case you've never seen this setup before, because it really is quite unique. So we have our E2 and E4 parts, which get screwed together like this. So Zach's kindly put our rod together for us. He's even got it the right length. That's handy. So it's calling for a bit of grease in there, so we're going to do that actually. If I can find my grease. There we go. So I might just chuck some into the cup there. Uh, 3x8 screws, we need 3 of them. There we go, 3 of them. So if we position our parts exactly as they are in the drawing, can you see? Can we get you in a bit closer? Yeah, you can kind of see. So if we position our parts exactly how they are in the drawing, it's going to make it a lot easier for things to go together. Especially if you've never assembled something like this before. Because if you're new to it, then it could be easy to get confused as to what you're actually putting together. So let's start putting some screws in. Now I am no expert at putting these together myself, but I mean I've only done it once, about 18 years ago. But it's almost like I did it yesterday. It's so fresh in my head. Just because it's such a unique and different setup. Some things you just remember. Oh, that, and I've still got one sitting on the bench, so I've looked at it a few times. So it is still kind of familiar in my head. So that's your ball connector, your link, I guess, for your bell crank. This end comes from your suspension arms, and that end hooks up to your actual shock, your mono shock. That's how that works. So these two parts are identical, but they need to go in opposite directions. So we have a pin here, so once again, just read the plan. So you can see that this part here, they both have 2 bends, right, 2 folds in the sheet. This fold goes away from you, right? So this is a down fold. This fold will be an up fold. It's coming towards you, right? Which is how it is on the sheet, on the drawing there. So we put our pin from the opposite side, and then that connector, and then the other side is basically has to be opposite. Yeah, so they basically, where are you? They basically sit kind of crossed over like that. And then we have this A5 piece and a small E-clip, which is going to fight me, you watch. And then we have this MD5 tube that gets slid through that hole, which I obviously should have done before I did all these screws up. So I'm just going to take that out for a sec. Just loosen these screws a little bit. It's through there now, and I can do these screws back up. So, on to step 18, where we need our rear end. Face around that way. So, it's telling you here to install this tube, grease it up, which is the tube that they told you to install in the last step. So you've installed it, now you've got to take it back out again. So why didn't they just put it in this step? I don't know. So let's put some grease into this hole and slide that through there thusly. You can see that that is your bell crank action there. And we need a 3x27 screw, which is hopefully, yes, one of them. coming in through this way, and then an M3 flange nut. This video, this episode of the Hotshot build is just going to go as long as it needs to, because I really think this rear suspension setup deserves a little bit of time talking about it. Yeah, that's not going to bite like they usually do, but that's tight anyway. Okay, so now we have these two aluminium pieces down here. This is where your change of direction comes in to your suspension geometry. So those two parts, you have to make sure you don't push your pins out of the way. Okay, so these two alloy parts hook up to those two pins that you put in previously. Now I'm just going to put these circlips in before we go any further, and then I can show you basically how this system works. Motherfucker. Okay, so we've been at this for the last couple of hours. It's been a few different videos for you guys, but I really think it's time for a break, because I really struggled with that last E-clip. Now, this had never happened to me before this. So I did actually lose the grip on one of the E-clips and it went flying. But not only that, it actually broke it in half. I have never ever broken an E-clip before like that.
There it is.
Oh, Zach just found the other half. There we go. So this is our rear bell crank, cantilever, whatever you want to call it, system for the rear. Now, as I'm pushing up one side of the suspension, it is pushing this link forward, which will eventually hook up to your shock absorber. If I press the other side, it does the same thing, because those arms are acting on each other and with this push rod here. Now if you press both arms, it does exactly the same thing. It's just such a cool setup. No matter what you do with the arms, it is like transferring motion in the correct direction. I think it's just unreal. So that is your rear suspension geometry on your Hotshot. Very unique, very cool. So I am going to get this, I think we only just brought you back, maybe. I'm going to get this step 18 finished, and then I'm going to take a break, because I am starting to make mistakes, and that's not something you want to do with this car. So our, whatever you want to call that, holy geez, I'm even forgetting the names of things. Tell you what, you guys can make up your own name for that, okay? But that's what we're putting on now. So 2x6, wow, that's a small screw for such a large component. So that'll be these ones here. Do we want to put that on yet, or do we want to put, well, we can't really. I guess that'll be fine. So where is my thread lock? See, I'm even losing stuff. I just had it before. You guys saw it there. And since Zach has a bit of a flu, hopefully it's not the one I had, because that just leveled me. But I think it might actually be coming back. Starting to get the old tickly throat and the sniffly nose. So I'm just putting these grub screws into these sway bar, that's it. Sway bar mounts ahead of time, and using a bit of thread lock, obviously. Again, if you don't have thread lock, don't panic. The Hotshot that's sitting on the shelf over there that's been built for like 18 years. None of that ever came apart. All that happened was the plastics. Well, what's broken on it now, I think, was broken by the guy who bought it off me years ago. But apart from that, the kit's just gotten old. It's old plastic, so that's why we're not going to rebuild that Hotshot for a runner. Because I dare say that those plastics will probably just fall apart as soon as you try driving it around the track. But we do have a plan for it. Don't worry about that. It's still going to get rebuilt. Okay, so this one's going to be awkward. I think this could have been done first. So this bell crank is maybe going to get in the way of this screw. We might get it. So if you're doing this, put your sway bar mount on first and then do your bell crank. Makes it just that little bit easier. That is in. Now we can join up our mounts. Now, it doesn't really give you a dimension here or how deep that rod has to go in, but it just shows a picture here, basically with the rod all the way in, so that's what we're doing. I don't really think you can get this part wrong. I think what really matters is that the grub screw is tightened down onto that sway bar. Now that does have the ability to move side to side. Now that doesn't really feel right to me. It doesn't feel right at all. Is that supposed to? Is it supposed to have that big gap in there? And move up and down like that? 2 secs, let me get the old Hotshot. Okay. Yes, this is correct. So you get to this point and there's a lot of movement in there. That's fine for now, because once the roll bar goes on, there's a couple of hooks on the roll bar that this bar fits into, which keeps it in place, which makes it work properly. So when you get to that and you find, oh, that doesn't look right, don't panic. That's how it's supposed to be. It'll all become clear. So that is step 18, and the completion of our, well, more or less the completion of our rear suspension setup. I'm actually going to do step 19 in this video, simply because I have the parts here to do it. And once we finish that step, I'm going to piss off outside and have a break. So, which means I don't know when we're going to get back to finish this chassis. So I need the actual chassis, or part thereof. That's actually in step 18, so I had to finish it anyway. Yeah, goose. So we have these two mount points here. Right there. Which way do they go? Which should be them ones and them ones? No. Them ones and them ones. Okay, so you got two through holes here in the gearbox, which is where your top chassis plate lines up to, lines up with, and 3x30s, which will be these long silver screws. So 3x30, and what do we have here? We have an A4 for the bottom, a thick plastic bush, I guess, goes through the bottom hole. So let's just try and get this lined up. We should have done the top one first. Anyway, well, this is silly. This is very, very silly. I do not remember this on the Hotshot years ago. So basically what's happening is where that screw comes out is underneath that drive cup for your drive shaft. And I don't understand how you're supposed to get in there to put the nut on, because once you can't just take that out to give yourself clearance, because then you won't get it back in through that hole. So let's just put the top screw in first and then go from there. This isn't lining up either. Right, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. The top one goes through. See, is that supposed to not go through? Let me just try and screw that in, see what happens. There's no real note. Ah, there, see. Alright, so this is actually screwing into the plastic, but it's still showing. Yep, okay. See, this is why it's important to read the drawing before making assumptions. Okay, so I was about to make a huge mistake, like dropping that bearing that. Okay, so I'll set this back in and then I'll show you what I was about to mess up, and that would have been catastrophic. So if you have a look here on ye old cartoon, right, so there's your top mount screw for to mount your chassis to your gearbox, and there's your bottom one, right? So if you follow the line, the direction where the screw goes, it goes through that washer, through that hole, through the hole in the gearbox, back around through the other hole in the chassis, and then into an M3 nut. So the bottom screw, you follow the line, it goes through that bush, through that side of the chassis, and into the gearbox. Doesn't come out the other end. So it's actually telling you there that that screw gets threaded into the plastic on the gearbox. And what I was about to do, because I was just looking at this and going, oh, there's a nut on the other side of that screw. There isn't on the bottom one. I was going to get out an M3, a 3mm drill, and drill straight through the gearbox so that the screw would go all the way through. So, very important, read the drawing so that you don't make silly mistakes like me. Hopefully, if you're going to build this car and you're watching this video, hopefully that little tip helps you out. It's what one thing I enjoy about making these videos for you guys. Gives you the opportunity to watch somebody else make stupid mistakes so that you guys don't have to. Okay, now we can just do up this screw. What I probably could have done is thrown a tap through that hole, but I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to spend the next 3 days trying to get the screw in while the screwdriver keeps slipping off the head. And like I said, it is time for a break. I'm starting to make mistakes. I'm getting a little tired. We will get step 19 done though, so that we got a front and rear end on this car. Okay, so that's those two mount screws. That mount is very close to that motor there. Okay, so step 19, we get to put dude upside down. We have our front end, which basically bolts in exactly the same as any of your Hotshot style front ends. That is an aluminium dog bone drive shaft with steel ends pressed into it. At least it's an actual drive shaft, not your not like your wire drive shafts you get in most of the other four-wheel drives. But time will tell. I mean, again, my Hotshot from years ago never had I never broke a drive shaft, never done any real damage to it. I'm actually going to grease up these holes here. I wonder if you can actually buy hop-up drive shafts for the I'm supposed to put, yeah, right. So again, read the plan, read the drawing. So there's another one of these urethane bushes that we need to cut into two pieces, and they go into the drive cups. I know you can't see what I'm doing, Don't feel bad because I can barely see what I'm doing. Okay, so let's have another go. Just double check, that's all I had to do. Yes. So make sure you got your transmission the right way around. And we can put these mounts in here and line up the holes for the screws, while trying to hold everything together at once. I would not recommend this kit as a first time build, just simply because if you're not used to working with your hands or working with tools, some of these steps you're going to be frustrated with, because there's just a few techniques that you learn after building quite a few cars. Like obviously if you're already mechanically minded, you're not going to have any trouble at all if you're good with your hands and you work with tools. If you're totally new to this kind of thing, I probably wouldn't start with a Hotshot, because it does get quite fiddly. I'm not telling you not to build a Hotshot for your first car. They are a great car to build and a great car to drive. You're going to have a lot of fun with it. Just be prepared to just take your time and read the drawing. Even if you read through the drawing a few times before you even start taking parts out of the box. That's impossible, isn't it? You've got to take the parts out of the box to get to the drawing because it's in the bottom of the box, but you know what I mean. Just read through the drawing. Make sure you get a sound understanding of what everything means, and then you can start building. So there is your mostly complete Hotshot chassis, and I just love the look of this thing. So we are going to call it a video there, and I am going to go outside, downstairs, grab a beer, sit down, relax for a bit, and come back when my head's a little bit clearer. Alright, so next video we're going to tackle the shocks, which are also quite... Where did that come from? I have no idea. It came out of the front. It's okay, it's okay, it's all good. It's all good. All good in the hood. Yes, we're going to tackle the shocks, which are also quite unique. So, thanks for watching, thanks for your support. Have a great day. I'm going for a beer. Bye.